7:02,
for
Mrs. Chair.
professional coaching.
Thank you.
Can't go start.
Does that help you?
Early.
Yes. What's
And
that?
then the other
Always
ones
start
are
late.
exceeded.
Always start
Can't
late?
start
What are
early.
those?
We're going to make an entrance? Is that what you're
I
saying?
have
Order the Woburn School Committee meeting for June 8th, 2021. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Chair and members of the audience here and at home, may I please ask for a moment of silence and reflection for staff member Ms. Kickless and also for retired Woburn Police Chief Dick Kelly. Moment of silence and reflection for those individuals, please. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. Could the superintendent please call the roll?
Ms. Chisholm.
Yes.
Ms. Cormier.
Present.
Mr. Lipset. Yes. Mr. Kissel.
Here.
Mr. Morenin.
Here.
Dr. Wells.
Here.
Ms. Crowley.
Present. Okay, first on the agenda, we have approval of minutes of 5/10/21. Any action?
Motion to approve.
I motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Aye. The motion passes 7-0. Next, I have approval of minutes of 5/26/21. Any action?
Same action, Madam Chair?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. Turning now to public comment. Is anybody in the audience that would like to speak to the school committee? Please come to the seat, please. Not seeing any. Okay, moving on to student representatives. I see Faith Frandudo is here with us, and she's nodding, so clearly she can hear us. So,
Yes,
okay, Ms. Frandudo, whenever you're ready, we're ready to listen.
yes, thank you, Chair. So for my report for June 8th for the high school, graduation occurred on Sunday, June 6th, and congrats to those who are part of the class of 2021 for all of your hard work and cooperation during this difficult school year, and a special thanks to all those who made a successful and safe graduation happen. Promenade took place this past Thursday in the high school courtyard, and over 200 seniors participated thanks to improvements in the COVID restrictions. Grades at the high school will close on Wednesday, June 16th, which will be, with the last day of school being on June 21st, which will be reserved as a move-up day for high school students, and grades will be uploaded to the portal at this time. There will be no final exams for high school students this year due to the nature of the pandemic and lost time within the classroom. The Girls and Boys State Program will be meeting at Stonehill College, which will run from June 12th through 18th, with 8 juniors from the class of 2022 participating. MCAS testing for the Science, Technology, and Engineering section will occur on Wednesday, June 9th. And lastly, the spring sports season is winding down, closing the season with upcoming games and outdoor practices. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Ms. Frandudo. Any questions for Faith? I am not seeing any. Faith, this might be our last school committee meeting, so I just wanted to thank you on behalf of the school committee for all of the fantastic work you did in representing the student body. And normally what I would do is present to you a token of our appreciation on behalf of the school committee. So I'm going to leave that at the superintendent's office for you to pick up whenever you can, okay? So I just want to thank you on behalf of the committee.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such an honor being able to serve the school committee this year.
That's so fantastic. And you are just a very outstanding young lady, so thank you.
So maybe we'll see her in person?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe next year we'll see you in person. Faith.
Absolutely, I hope so.
Okay,
That's
good.
great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for always being on time on the Google Meets and
So
all of those
professional.
things and delivering such great messages. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good summer.
Thanks, Faith.
Thank you. Moving on to City Council Liaison, I do not think that Mr. Concanon is available tonight. Okay, reports and presentation of superintendent and staff. we have,
Madam Chair, make a motion, we go out of order and have the Woburn Education Foundation go first.
I believe
Oh,
that,
Maureen.
excuse me, sir, I believe that we are,
By design.
yes, the Woburn Education Foundation is going to, we're going to wait for Executive Director Maureen Willis. So, but thank you for that appreciation. So we'll continue in the order of the agenda. So Susan Tifo, Fine Arts Coordinator, Woburn Public Schools. Dr. Crowley, would you like to make a short presentation?
Sure. Obviously, this has been the pandemic has shifted everything, but through it all, the investment that we've made over the past few years has paid off, and the kids both in the hybrid and virtual academy have had access to music and art, and I think tonight you're going to see some of that. It's going to culminate, I believe, Friday night with at the high school with a online performance, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So without further ado.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for letting us be here today. First of all, it's important that you understand how much I appreciate what you've done in the last 3 years since I've been curriculum coordinator. So to the administration, to the school committee, to the principals, and to the community, I sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, really appreciate the support that you've given us. And this presentation tonight, you'll see how much people do appreciate what we've done, even if it wasn't COVID. So this year, we broke from script. Oh, on that one. Uh-oh, we have him controlling it. So this year we broke from script, all right? And this is one of my favorite lines. Next one here, we have this book called The Power of the Moments. Basically, this has been my Bible, and anybody in central office knows this is what I sort of live by. And they're all, especially Courtney Young and I, have really taken off with this kind of theme. It's next one. So one of the favorite lines from this, it's called, "Our lives are measured in moments, and defining moments are the ones that endure our memories." So during the pandemic, the thing that I like about the most is the subtitle. It says, "Why certain experiences have extraordinary impact." So because of the impact that we've had with the pandemic, we have a story and moments to share with you. Okay, so this year we collaborated, and you all have copies of this presentation, so I'm not going to sit here and read through everything, but we learned to collaborate. The next slide we have, we had artwork from the Joyce Middle School at the Studio Cafe, and we also, on the next slide, we celebrated 100th birthday. We had the middle school students design cards, and Laura Clymer and I delivered them in the pouring rain to celebrate Vincent's birthday. This year we also adapted our classrooms. You can see how difficult it was for us to actually do art and music in rooms like this. We also had virtual lessons on laptop. And the positive note about this is that the families got to see how music and art were taught. And they really were thrilled about what they saw. And we have a lot of many comments that you'll see at the back of this presentation. We also connected with people. So we developed a web page. So if you want to link to the web page, you'll see the performance that's going to be happening this Friday night. And so this has K through 12, brand new web page done in Google, so that people can go through and download forms. They can get lessons for their 5th grade instrumentals. Anything that you want is on here. In each group, middle school and elementary, have all their information on this. And if we go back, you will see the teacher spotlight, so we can go to the next one. So this is what we pushed out this year. Every single teacher in our department answered the questions about what their favorite things are, their classroom motto. They were pushed out on Instagram and Twitter. And a lot of people enjoy reading the personalization of their classroom teacher. The next thing we did was we celebrated. So in this kind of pandemic situation, it's very difficult to learn how to celebrate, but the staff rocked it. We celebrated with holiday performances in both high school and middle school. We had elementary class performances, and the parents got to join in. So I virtually watched parents sing, dance, and play instruments, and it was amazing. And they loved it. It was great. We had art shows at every level that were virtual. We had theater productions. We had the help desk, and we also have one coming up this Friday night. And we did a program with the Veterans the middle school band director, Steve, and Laura Clymer, the art teacher, and Kelsey, the music teacher at the Kennedy, teamed up with Larry Giuseppe and did a beautiful performance virtually in honor of Veterans Day. So this next one this is Laura. She's a senior, and this was the premiere of the help desk at I think it was in the winter. The next thing we did was we created joy, and I'll tell you, this was a lot of work. We did 2,000 instruments out to every single elementary student, 300 art kits to Art Foundations and AP. We did 1,000 kits to middle school students, art students, and 2,000 kits to all elementary. And you'll see in these next pictures that everybody had a team approach. They packed their cars, we delivered them everywhere. This is Bethany and Michelle. Those were all musical instruments that we had delivered to all the schools. This is Jordan. He's excited that he's packing his car up with more instruments. We have Nancy and Laura. They were doing all the art kits that we had to assemble by hand because all the art kits that they sold online were, of course, out, so we had to make our own. And then we have poor Mara here, lugging it in the wintertime in the market basket over the Shamrock, filling it up to go inside the school. We also challenged ourselves. So our staff, some of our staff never before had used Instagram or Twitter. They all created accounts, and they all challenged themselves with all of the software that's listed here. And now they've become software experts, and that will continue next year as we go forward. And the next one we have is we were noticed by the public. And one of my favorite lines here, it says, "Thanks so much for moving arts education forward in moving schools. The changes over the last few years have been noted and appreciated." And you can read through the other comments. A lot of these were parents emailing teachers to let them know how happy they were with the art and music instruction and theater instruction that we had. And moving forward to 2021, 2022, I'm very excited that we have our part-time theater teacher now going full-time. We have our middle school band director going from part-time to full-time. And we have 2 retirement replacements in middle school art and elementary art, and they'll be moving us forward. They're fantastic people. And we have 2 major upgrades at the high school. We have the computer graphics rooms that are going to be upgraded in hardware and software. And our high school auditorium will be upgraded. It hasn't been upgraded since 2006. With all the speakers and lights and projector, all of that's going to be upgraded because it will be used all year long now with a full-time theater person. So the defining moment, we became the ideal team. And this is another one of my favorite books, thanks to Dr. Crowley. And I use these questions all the time when we do interviews. But I felt like this year that we really, really came together as a team, as a family. We called each other at night because there were so many different problems and solutions that we had to come up with, and we couldn't do it during the school year. So there were many nights and weekends that we were working together. And I just wanted to celebrate everybody in our department. So I have these photos of Janet, Ms. LaCour, who retired, Victoria, Laura, elementary art, there's Josh and Michelle, music teachers in elementary. We have Bethany and Jordan. And the nice thing is these are all professional musicians that are actually teaching with us, which is great. We have Nancy, who's retiring. We have Laura Clymer, who moved to the Kennedy Middle School. We have Jess and Kelsey, who are middle school music teachers. We have Jack Tully and Steve Turkett, who's our new middle school band director. And then we have our art team. We have Ann and Sarah and Donna. And then we have Noah Thomas, who's our new theater person, and Brian Gilbert. And I just can't thank you enough. I really, really am pleased with the progress that we've made. We still have a way to go, but we're excited. So thank you.
Thank you. Whew, all right. Any questions? Would you mind answering questions from the committee?
Oh, sure.
Ms. Tico. Okay.
You want to read these books?
I do,
keep them in
kind
my
of.
office at home. I always think.
You can put it in Crowley's corner. I noticed that.
No, I'm not keeping that one up. No.
Mr. Lipset.
I just, first of all, thank you for everything you've done this year. As I said to you earlier, adversity breeds creativity, and that's certainly shown through with everything you and your team have accomplished this year. I mostly just wanted to give you another chance to plug the high school performance upcoming this weekend, if you wanted to do so.
So Noah Thomas has done a fabulous job of coming up with different ways to virtually do performances. So this one is called All I Really Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. So it is a book that I've read many times, but it's also a play that it's divided into different sections. So they've been filming all over the city of Woburn with the help of the Woburn Public Media Center, and they've been editing every single day and filming. They're actually filming today, even though the performance is on Friday. So they're taking little snippets of this and putting it together. So I've already bought my ticket. You can buy tickets. I sent an email out to everybody today to buy tickets online. You can watch it live stream Friday night or Saturday. And it's a great way for, you can sit home in your own air-conditioned home and watch this. You don't have to worry about coming out to a hot auditorium or anything like that. So thank you, Vinny.
Absolutely. I already bought my ticket. I'm looking forward to it.
Dr. Wells?
Oh, yeah, thanks. You can shut me up because we met in the subcommittee and I asked all my questions then. But one question I forgot. How is the enrollment in your classes at the high school level? Like, with all this renewed, invigorating atmosphere, are you seeing increased enrollments?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because the kids now have a little bit more choice with things. There's a lot of different electives that they can choose from. One of the most popular classes is we have ceramics. So when I walk by and see the whole football team taking ceramics, I just smile. It's fabulous to see. Noah has 9 new theater classes, and they're pretty much all running, from podcast to storytelling to one-act plays. The way we're going to run the theater program is we're not going to just build up to one school musical at the end of the year. We want every kid in the school to have a chance to participate, because I know sometimes it conflicts with sports. So there'll be one-act plays, there'll be podcasts, there'll be student-run plays, there'll be all sorts of things all year long. So it's not just one culmination. Actually, Noah's classroom is the auditorium, which it should be.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions for, yes, Mr. Mulrennan?
Yeah, so good evening. If you could also just pass along to your entire staff, especially the graduation participants for the band and the choruses, that who knew where they would be come Sunday. I think the ability to get out there and, in front of the public that they did. And I know I've talked to both Mr. Tully and Mr. Gilberti up there, just spread out in the auditorium to practice and rehearse. And as the superintendent indicates, every meeting the rules were changing just to perform like they did that night with, I think Mr. Tully and I walked out, and he says it's the first time they've performed together in a year and a half. So I think it was fantastic performance, and looking forward. I know the middle school is going to be building better attendance, as Dr. Wells indicated. So the performing arts will be growing and will be back to what it used to be. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And you know what? They're fabulous. They're constantly challenging themselves. Jack Tully a month ago came to me and said, can I do summer band? Can I do free lessons for the band this summer? He's running a summer program with over 25 students participating. We have youth band. Steve has built up the youth band in the middle school. And it's not Joyce versus Kennedy. It's the middle school youth band. And they never say no. They're always challenging themselves. And they don't complain, because they know they're getting the support from all of you. And you're showing up at their events, and they're getting the budget to do things. And it's just, it's amazing. I get teary-eyed. I'm so thrilled about this. Finally. No, thank you.
Well, Ms. Tifo, I remember you came a couple years ago and you were very emotional talking about the rebranding, because you also designed our logo, right? Our new logo?
Well, I had a consultant.
Yes, I remember you had a whole team.
I'll take full credit.
But I just, your leadership in the arts department, I'm just glad you were the last meeting, because you're punctuating the Woburn Public Schools' very difficult year. We also paid attention to arts, even though we were in the flux of the pandemic. So I'm really glad you came tonight, and I'm very proud of the leadership in the arts department.
Well, thank you very much.
Of
I will
course.
let you know that it's because of this. I keep going back to all of you, because I am in a group with visual performing art directors from Arlington, Lexington, Billerica, and so we were constantly talking all year long about how do we solve these problems. And a lot of districts put art and music aside. And I kept saying, nope, we're having it. We're doing hybrid. We're doing this. We're having classes every week, and they were really surprised at the support, because a lot of people laid everybody off. And I'm very proud of the fact that this district is going to become a very strong visual performing art district.
Well, thank you, and I truly enjoyed my children during the remote when they were home, playing the instruments. It really just brought a lot of music into my house.
Music teachers. Well, the parents
School whack,
built the
yes.
boom whackers more than anything else. They were hitting each other with the boom whackers, but we tried to get the most efficient money out of the instruments to get.
It was fantastic.
I'll go on record saying I actually appreciate the boom whackers. I might be the only one, but I genuinely appreciate it.
Hey, they were very creative.
They're
They
right.
would sit down
Yeah.
and figure out how much money could they get for 2,000, 8,000 kids. So they did a great job. I'm so proud of them all.
In all seriousness, it's the way in which children learn rhythm and enjoy sound, so it's
Thank
all
you.
for
I
it.
appreciate it. Thank
Of course, anytime. Anything else from Dr. Crowley?
No, I echo Ms. Tifo's enthusiasm. I'm very proud of all of the Woburn Public Schools, but it really was nice to highlight and punctuate the end of the year with the Fine and Performing Arts, because for a lot of kids, that is the way that they access school. And so thank you for your leadership, and we'll look forward to great things ahead.
How do we? Rock and roll. Thank you.
I thought you were going to call that our new mission statement.
You would. I can put that in.
An updated.
Thank you.
New marketing is definitely true.
Be a little cheaper.
Okay, I think you could renew your motion.
All right, I'll make a motion, we go out of order and allow the Woburn Education Foundation to present their presentation this evening. I see some 3 outstanding members of the organization.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion passes.
Oh, there are 2 chairs.
Yeah.
He going up?
No, just 2 of them.
Mike, I think,
Mike, I don't know if he's coming up.
He's always the man in the background.
Yeah.
Joe Crowley going out, there's no way.
Oh, see? Let Joe steal the spotlight, huh?
Oh, it just does.
Great to be back. I get nomination papers for you.
Yeah.
I bullet hit you last time, Joe.
Yeah.
All right.
Introduce yourself, please.
no, he was.
We're just teasing.
All right.
Crowley, the president of the Woburn Community Education Foundation.
Yes, and I'm Maureen Willis, and I serve as Executive Director. Thank you for this opportunity to provide an update on our activities this past year and to share some exciting news in regard to our plans for the future. As you know, WCEF was founded to support our public schools, to provide our educators access to resources beyond that which is provided in the regular school budget. Our purpose is not to tell our educators what to do, but to simply ask how we can help. This year we were pleased to provide $27,000 in funding to support live stream education at the middle schools and high school to increase student engagement during remote learning, and to support an expansion in STEM programming in the elementary schools that will engage and inspire students well into the future. This is the largest single-year investment in WCEF's history and brings our total raised and gifted since 2014 to more than $230,000. This success is a true reflection of the high regard the Woburn community has for our educators and the important and valuable work they are doing, especially now. This year, our educators put their students first and went above and beyond their normal call of duty to help ensure Woburn students felt safe, were engaged, and continued to learn. They earned the well-deserved respect and gratitude of their community. We know this because they told us this in tributes to their awesome teachers. 278 personal messages for 187 classroom teachers, paraprofessionals, school nurses, secretaries, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, and for the first time ever, members of the Woburn Public School Administration and Matt Crowley's team. 5 whole school tributes, and overall a 50% increase in the past 2 years, these pandemic years, and this year raising more than $6,700 for our schools. The WCEF board has a special message for all Woburn educators, which I want to share with you tonight. We gave this to Matt Crowley in the form of a letter and asked him to distribute it to all Woburn Public School educators. As we reach the end of a more than year-long battle with COVID-19 pandemic, the members of the Woburn Community Educational Foundation thank you for your dedicated service under extreme circumstances to deliver uninterrupted teaching to the students of Woburn. Recently, our Awesome Teacher Tribute campaign was completed, and we were struck by the overwhelming public response this year, considering the disruptions caused by the pandemic. Many parents felt compelled to include a personal note with their submission applauding the dedication of their child's teacher. Our partnership with Woburn educators began by fulfilling the major mission of our organization, providing private investment to innovative programs that were not possible with public money. For the last 5 years, this has included $100,000 in funding for the Lexia Reading Program. In an effort to continue the support, WCEF applied for a renewal grant through the Cummings Foundation $25 million grant program. We were recently informed that WCEF was awarded a $200,000 grant to be gifted in annual installments of $20,000 a year per 10 years to continue Lexia in our schools. Credit for this important milestone must be shared with the Woburn Public School Administration and the Woburn Public School educators, whose obvious enthusiasm for the program has contributed to its success in helping Woburn students read at grade level. This is what inspired the support of the Cummings Foundation. While the pandemic period has some negative impact on normal schooling, it did highlight the innovation, dedication, and flexibility of Woburn educators. Congratulations, and we are proud to be working on your behalf and the students of Woburn. In partnership, the Woburn Community Educational Foundation Board of Directors. In closing, we also wish to thank Matt Crowley, Kerry Carpenter, and the rest of the Woburn Public School administrative team for continuing to foster this cooperation and collaborative spirit. This is the basis of the relationship that has helped us continue to grow as an organization and to engage more and more members of our community in support of this effort. Looking to the future, this can only mean great things for WCEF and our public schools. Thank you.
Just before I open up to questions, I just want to say that we should be thanking you, Ms. Willis, and President Joe Crowley of the board, because you enrich our school. And you saw a need in the Woburn Public Schools, and you addressed it by forming a nonprofit organization. I deeply admire that, and I appreciate it. So on behalf of the school committee, thank you for making our school system better. All right, opening up to questions from the committee. Yes, Mr. Walren.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, folks. Nice to see you again. I'll play the role of former school board member Mr. Mendez. If a member of the public wanted to maybe make a donation to the Education Foundation, is there a way to do that, and how so?
We actually have a pretty vibrant website. It's www.woburnedfoundation.org, and that provides information on anyone who wants to make a donation either online or through the mail to WCEF.
And a follow-up question to that. I know we have two individuals before us, one individual in the back. You want to rattle off some of your board members or just the members of the organization that are helpful throughout the year?
Sure. So we were founded in 2014, and the members of our founding board are still involved with the organization. Some of them decided to extend their term to get us through the other side of the pandemic. They include Joe Crowley, our board chair. Joanne Mulcairn is our vice chair. We have Don Queenan as our treasurer. Board members include Sue Ellen Holland, Eric Skeffington, Robert E. McGuire sitting in the corner, Rick Metters, Brian Tague, who else did I leave out? I actually have this with me, right?
You got them all.
See, Bonnie Johnson,
And,
and Nancy Whalen,
Yeah,
and
Nancy,
Razia
Nancy.
Zacho.
Thank you very much. Appreciate all you've done.
Yes, Dr. Wells.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sustaining the organization. That's the hardest part. Founding organizations is easy. It's the sustaining of it that's difficult, and you guys have done a great job on that. So what, do you have goals for the future? How do you see your organization expanding, or what you would like to see your organization in 2 or 3 years?
So in the short term,
Yeah.
we're finally going to have the second annual Hall of Fame in May of 2022. So that got pushed
Right.
back 2 years, and that is something we're very excited about because another institution that we were able to launch for Woburn. We reimagined our Women's Forum event into a winter raffle last year that was very successful. So we're planning to build on that, and then really working with the members of our board to really create a very robust fundraising program. The more dollars we can raise for our schools, the more money we can give back. So that's really our goal going forward.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to, if I could just say one thing.
Yeah.
You mentioned about sustaining an organization like this, John, and we all help out and so forth, but this person here has really been the backbone of the society, of the group, and without her, it really wouldn't be much. She works constantly on it. She's so organized and so helpful to all of us. And she's very dedicated, and I think she deserves a lot of credit for what she's done.
Thank you, Mr. Crowley. Dad.
Oh. I was going to say no relation.
Mr. Kissel.
This time it is.
Quick question, and maybe here, maybe through the administration, with the Lexia program, that 200,000 is spread over, would you say, 10 years?
Yes.
So 20,000 a year? So what does that, is that paying for that program, or?
It is.
Pretty much.
Yes, yeah, it's at elementary, and it's been very successful at the elementary level. The Cummings Foundation came and visited with the Ed Foundation, I guess, must have been 2 years ago. But they came away quite impressed, and then the application was then looked at favorably. So
Nice.
it's been really a great win for the Woburn Public Schools, and to have it sustained like this is really great. So
That's great.
Yeah, no, Cummings was very excited because we pointed out to them that they now are in a position to really influence a whole generation of Woburn students with a 10-year grant.
Mhm.
So that was really what they touched on when they awarded us the money, which we passed over to the school department.
Great.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Anything else from the committee?
Thank
Thank you
you.
for your
I just had a
efforts.
question. Could you just give some examples so the public knows of what kinds of things that you often fund? You know, some of the more innovative things.
Well, I would say, so this year we didn't have our regular educator grant program. We went to the Woburn Public School Administration and asked how we could help. But ordinarily, we open it up to any educator in the public schools and ask them what they see as a need that would help their students. And the only criteria is that it cannot be covered by their budget. So we did fund a robotics program in the elementary schools a couple years ago, and then the funding we provided this year was an expansion of that. We did an underwater simulation tank at the high school. We funded Google viewers at the high school. We've done the money for instruments. Bethany Newman is a person who takes advantage of the Education Foundation. We funded xylophones, I think, in 2019 for the elementary schools. So the turbine drums too at the elementary schools and middle schools. So it's really the educators telling us what the students need. The IXL program, which is a technology-based math program in the elementary schools, we funded that at several schools through the year. We helped the Harold Wyman have their first ever drama production 1 year. So it's really whatever the teachers can think of, and the only limits we have is really how much funding we have available. So really the only reason we ever turn down a grant proposal is because we only have so much money and we need to try to leverage the dollars as much as we can.
Wow, that's just amazing. Mr. Kissel.
Just
has
one more
another
real
question.
quick follow-up based on what you just said. So if a teacher requests xylophones, is that something that they work with administration initially to say that, yeah, xylophones isn't in the budget this year, or is it outside of that?
no, it's outside of that. So when the Ed Foundation puts out the grant, the teacher works with the building principal or department head to make sure that it's within the scope of things that would be
that's what I was
supported.
gonna say, yeah.
But then the teacher takes the initiative to do the application.
Good. Cool.
And when we review the grants, there's usually someone from Matt Hoag's team with us.
Mhm.
So if we have questions.
Right.
Wendy has sat with us before at 7:30 in the morning and spent 2 hours going through grant proposals with us. So we always try to make sure that we're not replicating public dollars and that we're really doing something that not only the teachers want, but it meets the strategic initiatives and what the goals are of the school department.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, so any further questions from the committee? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Again, amazing work. Thank you so much for all the work you do, just completely on just a goodwill basis. It's just really inspiring, and I truly admire you, Ms. Willis.
Thank you.
If I could just...
Thank you.
You too,
On-
Dad.
on-
You're good too.
On behalf of the Woburn Public Schools, thank you for your support this year, for the live streaming that, allowed us to live stream at the middle and high school. You said it, but I want to reiterate it, and we appreciate it because, it helped us get through the pandemic. And I will tell this meeting, Mr. Crowley, senior there, runs the best meeting in the world.
Wait, what?
Hey, man.
Hey, hold on.
Probably.
We are.
Objection.
Give him the gavel.
No, it's remarkably focused, and we get a lot of things done, and of course, Maureen does a great job. So thank you all, thank the committee, and so,
We're glad to help.
Appreciate it.
That's what we're
Yeah.
here for, to help out.
yeah.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too.
See you later.
Motion we turn to regular order business.
Second.
All right, discussion on that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the motion passes, okay. Okay. Love that guy. So, order the meeting.
Yeah, jeez, come on.
Actually, I'll give him a hug.
Hey, Dr. Baldessari, thank you for the loaner mic there.
Give him one for me too, Ian.
Oh.
That's a photo.
Where were you?
It doesn't get you my voter.
Oh.
Look at that, all the
How about me,
crowd.
Joe? Come on
Their
back.
adopted son, Matt.
It's
All
8
right.
o'clock meeting, don't be late.
Yeah.
Thank you for a hug break. All right. So as the committee knows, one of the most important jobs that we have is to hold the superintendent accountable and be his supervisors. And every year we conduct a annual evaluation of the superintendent's performance. And there are 4 factors to this. Instruction, we will rate him in the following areas: instructional leadership, management and operations, family and community engagement, and professional practice. And then we will rate him in terms of meeting his own goals, which he will present to us. Dr. Crowley will make a presentation. I will go around and you will tell me how you rated the superintendent in the areas. Does that sound good?
Doesn't have to be too long a presentation.
It does not have to be too long a presentation.
I'm not sure I have a presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right
Dr.
in
Crowley, okay.
I get to make a couple notes.
Okay, so let me state for the record that the superintendent provided the school committee with evidence in order to properly evaluate him. He will not be doing a presentation, I apologize. He did it,
A narrative portion.
Yes.
yes,
Very impressive.
he
Very.
did it on Castify.
Yeah.
And so the committee had ample time. Do you feel like you had ample time to digest the information? Are you ready to do the evaluation?
More than ample time.
Okay, so we will go around and you will tell me how you rated the superintendent in standard number 1, which is instructional leadership. I will start with Ms. Chisholm. Exemplary. I'll go by the table, okay? Mr. Kissel.
Exemplary.
Dr. Wells.
Exemplary.
Mr. Mulrennan.
Exemplary.
Mr. Lipsitt.
Exemplary.
Ms. Cormier.
Exemplary.
And the chair voted exemplary. Standard number 2, management and operations, Mrs. Chisholm.
Exemplary.
Mr. Kissel.
Exemplary.
Dr. Wells.
Exemplary.
Ms. Mulrennan.
Exemplary.
Mr. Lipsitt.
Exemplary.
Ms. Cormier.
Exemplary.
And the chair voted exemplary. That's 2 ratings of exemplary. Standard number 3, family and community engagement, Mrs. Chisholm.
Exemplary.
Mr. Kissel.
Exemplary.
Dr. Wells.
Exemplary.
I'm sensing a pronunciation issue, but okay.
I understand.
We got the E's.
It's the mask.
She's not used to saying.
Okay.
So
Mr. Mulrennan.
Exemplary.
Mr. Lipsitt.
exemplary.
Ms. Cormier.
Exemplary.
And the chair votes exemplary. Oh, great. That's contagious.
See?
Professional practice, Mrs. Chisholm.
Exemplary.
Mr. Kissel.
Exemplary.
Dr. Wells.
Exemplary.
Mr. Mulrennan.
Exemplary.
Mr. Lipsitt.
Exemplary.
Ms. Cormier.
Exemplary.
And the chair votes exemplary. Okay, we have rated the superintendent exemplary in all 4 categories. The standard of exemplary is, if I say it on the top of my head, it's not just, obviously it's greater than proficient. It's the standard that means that the superintendent is above and beyond the accepted practice of other superintendents. So he is, what we are saying is he is
He's
a
a role
leader.
model.
He's a role model for other superintendents and how they should lead. So it's truly an honor to be rated that way. In terms of the district goals, I don't,
I can read them.
okay, yeah, read them to me.
The first district goal was COVID-19, provide effective leadership, support, and communication to all Woburn Public Schools stakeholders throughout the school year during a pandemic.
Okay. And the school committee will rate whether or not that goal was met, exceeded, or not met, I believe. Mrs. Chisholm.
Exceeded.
Mr. Kissel.
Exceeded.
Dr. Wells.
Exceeded.
Mr. Mulrennan.
Is there something more than exceeded? But I'll put it down exceeded.
Nah.
Wicked exceeded.
Mr. Lipset.
Yeah.
Exceeded.
Ms. Cormier.
Exceeded.
And the chair votes exceeded. Okay, goal number 2, Dr. Crowley.
Another district goal was to operationalize the strategic plan to ensure that our strategic plan continues to guide the work across the Woburn Public Schools during this school year 2020-2021.
Okay, so the goal was to operationalize the strategic plan. Mrs. Chisholm.
Exceeded.
Mr. Kissel.
Exceeded.
Dr. Wells.
Exceeded.
Mr. Mulrennan.
Exceeded.
Mr. Lipset.
Exceeded.
Ms. Cormier.
Exceeded.
And the chair votes exceeded. Okay, goal number 3. Dr.
Is a
Crowley.
professional practice goal. In order to prepare the Woburn Public Schools for post-pandemic wellness, instruction, and operations, I will work collaboratively with the senior administrative team and through them, all district faculty and staff to develop the Woburn Public Schools return to school plan.
Did he exceed that goal, Mrs. Chisholm?
Yes, exceeded.
Mr. Kissel.
Yes, exceeded.
Dr. Wells.
Exceeded.
Ms. Mulrennan.
Yes, exceeded, excuse me.
Mr. Lipset.
Exceeded.
Ms. Cormier.
Exceeded.
And the chair votes exceeded.
I was so hoping we could vote on his computer skills, that goal he wanted to have.
Oh, wait,
Improve his
that's
computer
not-
skills.
He's reading off the computer. Or somebody sent it to him, one or the other.
All right, next goal, Dr. Crowley.
Sure. This was the rollover goal. This was the third and final year of my new superintendent induction program with my coach, Chris McGrath. Continued my participation in this program this year by Zoom and continued to develop skills in strategy development, data analysis, and instructional leadership.
Mrs. Chisholm.
Exceeded.
Mr. Kessel.
Exceeded.
Dr. Wells.
Exceeded.
Mr. Mulrennan.
Exceeded.
Mr. Lipset.
Exceeded.
Ms. Cormier.
Exceeded.
Chair votes exceeded. Next goal.
And lastly is the student learning goal. Pardon me. Provide effective leadership and collaborative structures to ensure adequate level of professional support and accountability for student learning. Provide support for administrators and teachers to advance curriculum while understanding the social and emotional and academic challenges of hybrid and remote instruction.
Mrs. Chisholm.
Exceeded. I was going to just accept it not met and just see if anybody else goes, what?
Everybody just copy
You didn't have the heart to make that joke.
Yeah.
Mrs. Chisholm. Mr. Kissel.
Exceeded.
Dr. Wells.
Exceeded.
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 Chair votes exceeded. Okay, that concludes the
Madam
superintendent's.
Chairman?
Yes. Oh, I'll open it up to commentary?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to close this up, that this is the formal part of the
Yep.
evaluation. So just so the public knows, the school committee can take into anything, anything that they observe about the superintendent, but we do look at academic data, which I said we looked at comprehensively. But we look at the whole person, and Dr. Crowley exceeded every goal that he set for himself and for the district, including student learning, in the middle of a pandemic. And as I said, he was also rated exemplary. So I'll now open it up to any commentary that the school committee would like to make in regards to their rating. I'll start with Mrs. Chisholm.
Okay, well, this year, almost all of it was under the COVID cover. We were very lucky to have Dr. Crowley as our superintendent. His leadership, patience, caring for all of our staff, students, as well as our city as a whole, in this pandemic was truly remarkable. Whether our schools needed to pivot on a dime or even have our plans totally dismantled, he, along with his very dedicated team, which includes administrators, teachers, paras, administrative assistants, central office staff, custodians, cafeteria workers, and bus drivers, worked tirelessly to keep our schools open when possible and our teachers in front of our students. A great deal of it, maybe of that in front of time, may have been a computer screen, but our education here in Woburn continued. Our citizens have been very supportive and have applauded the way that our schools and community came together and provided for all of our students in some very challenging situations. The amount of phone calls, emails, and text messages, some excessive, sent out to keep everyone informed was amazing. I believe Woburn did a great job, and your leadership through it all would not be forgotten. A goal which was downplayed in making your goals last year was gaining computer knowledge. I can only imagine the amount of quick learning that was needed to take place as you navigated through this year, and I, for one, appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was very nice. Mr. Kissel.
I have a real brief one.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. I was
Expensive
just
as
going
that.
for it. It's fine.
I said, just based on why I voted the way I did. Based on the school year, he did a great job because it had to be done for the benefit of the kids and the staff. Great job, great leader. I signed my name on it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kissel. Dr. Wells?
Yeah, so, I was thinking about it over the weekend, and over the year, I've always respected the superintendent. I think he does a great job. But I was thinking about, all I've seen in the school districts in the Commonwealth and what they've gone on. And I've never seen any articles about other school districts where I said, gee, why didn't we do that? But I saw plenty of articles where I said, I'm glad we didn't do the things they did. I think it was just an exemplary time to have him as superintendent. And, there's always things we can quibble about, but I was thinking, when the captain landed the plane in the river, in the Hudson River, quibbling about what he did this year would be like complaining that we didn't get the second service of drinks on the plane. He just did so much.
Dr. Wells, that was funny.
Yeah, and no, it's we always have differences about things and so forth and how things could have gone, but the ability to work with the staff, so we had no uprising from the staff, no uprising from the community, really, keeping the system going, shifting on a dime, doing all these things, it was just amazing. And, it's probably the most incredible in my 20+ years of school committee, what a superintendent's done in 1 year.
Thank you, Dr. Wells.
About the free drinks, John.
What?
Ms. Mulrennan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And again, I think Mrs. Chisholm stole all my thunder. She copied my notes. But I think, just thinking back to some of Dr. Crowley's phrases, how he was flying a plane or assembling the plane, how he had to open 3 schools all at once. Let's just take a moment right now and think about that. Open 3 schools at once. And as John indicated, school's open. Some of us have been here for many years, and, come September, school opened. These people in this room tonight had to open 3 different schools and 3 different models without a whole lot of direction. Because the direction they had changed the next very morning. Some of my other scribbly notes here, we are going to do the overall evaluation on behalf of the superintendent. It's just hard to find anything less than exemplary with this gentleman. Working with the WTA, he talked about it earlier tonight, how we kind of laid in the 9 days to keep that, system going and working with the teachers union, all the bodies across this district to make them happy on behalf of the students and their families. Another note I made here, keep up with DESE. Each and every time, and I think Ms. Chisholm just said it, the emails and the text message were, oh, by the way, new update from DESE just came out, and this is what we're going to be doing here for Woburn. And I think he did send us an introductory little kind of video about the approach for this evaluation tonight, and he indicated August or sooner going back to the planning board with the teams and the way he set it all up to make it all work and make it happen. And my final indication, my final kind of thought was that it was an item that came up late in the agenda this year. It was called Silver Linings, and I've seen it indicated again today somewhere, around the district, added to our agenda. All this COVID stuff going on, all you heard about was COVID, bad stuff, COVID, bad stuff. And we just heard from our art director, and we have documentation as to some of what she did. And all the programs, all the education, and again, I'm referencing what Dr. Wells said, you'd hear about, well, that school district, they're not even back in school yet. And our students were already in front of teachers, and real live, in-person teaching. And I think without the leadership of Dr. Crowley to make those things happen, and the leadership of all of his team, we wouldn't be where we are today on June 8th. We had that graduation. We had so many things that we thought a month ago, we can't do that. We're not going to be able to do that. But for some reason, you know, Dr. Crowley got his team together and he just assembled the troops and made it happen. So I can't say any more than there's no other, they don't allow us anything above exemplary. If they did, I'd stamp it right here tonight. So it's been a pleasure, Dr. Crowley, and find out that you're still working with Miss McGrath. Here's a guy that's learning to be a superintendent. I think he's learned pretty damn well over the last 15, 16 months. So I applaud you for that and continuing that induction program. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Mr. Lipson?
Yeah, I think sometimes I worry when everything comes back exemplary, that the public views this as something of a rubber stamp. I speaking for myself, my students will tell you, I don't hand out A's. I'm not an easy grader. And I think, to me, what I've seen over the past year and a half, what really stands out to me is that I think in a lot of really critical ways, despite everything that this district has been through, despite everything that the community has been through, despite everything our teachers and our administrators and our school staff have been through, there are critical ways in which our district is stronger today than it was when this started. Our community partnerships are stronger today than they were when this started. Our instructional leadership is stronger today. Our curriculum is stronger today. There are so many different ways in which you and your team have guided this district through this pandemic in a way that sets us up so well for the future. And that's, I think, a genuine testament to your leadership. I think in some ways also this is, my exemplary is also a reflection on what you've done in the past, because the only way that we got through this as well as we did was because of the investments that have been made in the past. Without, and this is not, this is to Dr. Crowley, but this is also to the whole team, right? Because the ability to add curriculum coaches, the ability to add art and music, weekly art and music, I don't know what we would have done for specials had we not had that additional staff. The partnerships that you've built with the YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club, these things saved us in a lot of ways this year. And so, I think this really shows that the benefit of having that kind of forward-thinking vision, that kind of investment for the future, that you instilled long before the pandemic was something that we said in our daily life. Right? So to me, this exemplary is for this year, certainly, and it's for previous years as well, because this year has really shown what you've been able to accomplish.
Mr. Lipson? Mrs. Cormier, did you want to?
Sure. I just wrote, amidst the pandemic, Dr. Crowley remains responsive to the community, always putting the needs of the students first. I'm excited to see what the future has in store for Woburn Public Schools with Dr. Crowley at the helm. I know he'll continue to move the district forward in a mindful and compassionate manner.
Great, thank you. I just did exemplary because I've been working with the superintendent closely as chair now 2 very long years. But I think that the collaboration with the teachers and the goodwill developed in the community has been a major strength, and that's been done just through being an honest and humble person, willing to pivot when needed, willing to be a great leader, willing to collaborate with the experts in the room, Dr. Baldassari, Bob, Wendy. You lead on people, you're able to not think you have all the answers, and I think that's one of your greatest strengths. Okay, so that concludes the superintendent's evaluation. He is exemplary and he has exceeded all of his goals. That will be entered into the record.
Perfect
Great.
record.
And you'll collect these from us, correct?
Yeah, and I'll collect those so that we can add them into the superintendent's file.
Can I comment?
Oh,
No.
I think I did that to you last year too. You're like, can I say
The only problem is I don't know. It's a tough act to follow. My comment really, I genuinely thank you to the committee for your support, because it's allowed us to operate the district, in a day-to-day manner. So appreciate genuinely the support throughout. And then I'm glad that people said team, because it really is about a team. Bob and Mike have really stepped up this year in ways that are immeasurable with the Supervised Learning Center and the finance and operations, the PPE. And I didn't forget Wendy.
I got really uncomfortable.
I'm saving Wendy because we've been together doing this work day in and day out for 5 years. As long when you were at the Alta Vista, and your time in the Woburn Public Schools is soon to end, and you've made such an incredible difference to the Woburn Public Schools over your time, and we are better because you were here. And so, genuinely, thank you. Not only COVID related, but through for your entire tenure in the Woburn Public Schools. And then not in the room. They've been in the room here, but Jen Judkins, we with the technology. Maureen Ryan was special ed. And Courtney Young, who's going to replace Wendy, has really done yeoman's work this year with the Virtual Academy and almost everything else. So it's an exciting place to be. It's great to have a great team to lean on. And I would be remiss if I don't mention Kerry Carpenter's name, because she is the one that keeps all of us marching. And so, again, she's amazing, and so lucky to be here, and thank you all for your support and contributions.
Thank you, Dr. Crowley.
Thank you.
And
Yes,
just
Dr. Wells?
maybe to clarify, Mr. Lips has made a comment about grading and how we all were in the same step, but I think you want to emphasize that we all do this independently of each other.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I want the public to be aware of that,
Yeah.
because we're all sitting at home thinking about it and reflecting on it, and, it reflects our own observations, and it's not like we got together and talked about, what should we grade them, because people have been here a long time and seen disparate gradings of superintendents in the past, and,
Yes.
this is really a group thought that comes from us each independently.
Thank you, Dr. Wells, clarifying. Okay, anything else? No? All right. Subcommittee reports. Mrs. Chisholm, whenever you're ready for finance. Oh, I'm sorry. No, okay, great. Curriculum and data trend, Mr. Lipset?
Yes, we met on Tuesday, June 1st, 3 o'clock p.m. And we heard first from Ms. Tifo, Fine Arts update. It was a lot of the same information that we received from her earlier, and some of the, just mountains of incredible work that the Fine Arts Department has done this year, and some of the ways in which they've shifted their programs. And we discussed a couple of different things, how to raise visibility for the department, including the middle school band program, some discussion on, the future of ticketing costs for theater and other performances, and how to, maybe use that to bring in more of the public. Ms. Young gave, in attendance at this meeting were Ms. Sprague, Ms. Courtney Young, Ms. Tifo, Dr. Wells, and myself. And Ms. Young presented progress on basically the structures to support our summer enrichment programs. At the time of the meeting, we had about 450 students. Is that about what we got? K through 8 had signed up to take part. Let's see. Things seem to be going exactly as we want them to go. The staffing is where we want it to be. We've got a lot of positions filled by Woburn educators. We found a lot of roles for some of our long-term subs who stepped in so early this year. The focus of the programs will largely be in ELA and math. District is going to supplement that as well with a week of tutoring after the fact, especially for students with greater needs who have either demonstrated that they may need a little bit of extra support during the program, or who come in with certain indicators that might that direction. And that gives flexible scheduling and learning. And we also finally heard a little bit about upcoming revisions or proposed revisions to a report card, elementary school report cards. Ms. Young is hoping to hold a session with group parents on the week of the 14th. Is that still? Yes. And that'll provide feedback on any updated or revised standards for the report cards. And she hopes to present a plan for report card revision to the school committee early next year. And we adjourned at 4 o'clock p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Lipset. Any questions for curriculum? Not seeing any. Okay, personnel, Ms. Mulrennan?
I have not met, Madam Chair.
Okay. Policy, Mr. Kissel?
We have not met. We
How many kids?
will be gathering our thoughts in the next day or so.
All right, fabulous. Resources?
Resources, unfortunately, was required to meet.
Finally.
Came out of hibernation, the bear's
Ring the
back.
bell.
We met this evening. Present was myself, Mr. Mulrennan, Mr. Lipsitz, the superintendent, and the assistant superintendent, Mr. Alcanada, and Mr. Baldessari, Dr. Baldessari. And the chair was there also. We discussed, the first issue was some internal movement within the Joyce Middle School to make better use of space and so forth, and so there'll be some rearrangement of the curriculum coordinators, the library, and some of the classroom areas, and so the superintendent highlighted that, and it sounds like a great plan, and it'll make things better for both students, giving them some better space, and also for providing more access up here for the curriculum coordinators. So that was the first issue. The second issue was about the Kennedy out exterior landscaping, and in discussions with the director of the facilities, he indicated that they're going to be working on some of the out exterior, cleaning up the grasses and the trees and so forth over the summer, so that'll be taken care of. You know, it gets a little overgrown this time of year, but it'll be taken care of during the summer by our summer work crew. Third issue that we dealt with was the state of the buildings, the looking at all our facilities and the facility evaluation plan. And I think after discussion, we recommend to the full committee that a letter be sent to the mayor and to the president of the city council asking for a meeting. And if the chair wants to have that meeting or have it with resources, the chair is welcome to decide which they'd like to do. But that meeting should discuss, one, the facility evaluation plan, payment of that, and then also what's to be done with that plan. Where are the school building plans for the future, and any other construction ideas that the city council or the mayor has for helping the schools prepare these buildings for the upcoming years, because as we've noted a number of times, even the newest buildings are getting old. And so we have to have some kind of plan going forward. And so I think it's time now, the pandemic hopefully is winding down, and to do some future planning. So however the chair wants to arrange that meeting, we should, whoever does it should report back to the committee in the fall.
Thank you, Dr. Wells. Are you making a motion for the letter, or are we just consensus that I'll write a letter?
I think we should make a motion because
Okay.
it's such an important issue.
Okay, great.
So I'll make a motion that the chair send a letter to the two entities I discussed, and that she determine how she wants that meeting to be held.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. I'll get that letter out as soon as possible.
Okay.
Thank you, committee members. Anything else, Dr. Wells?
Nope.
Okay.
Probably
Any-
going to have to meet again until.
Any questions for resource, Dr. Wells? No, I'm not seeing any. Okay, student services and achievement, Ms. Cormier?
Yes. We met today, Tuesday, June 8th, via Zoom. In attendance were myself, Mr. Kissel, Ms. Crowley, Dr. Baldessari, Ms. Ryan, Adriana, Mendez, Sheldon, and Julie Cotton from CPAC. Meeting was called to order at 12:05 p.m. For the SPED update, Ms. Ryan reported an unusual amount of move-ins to the district, averaging 1 to 2 per week. We have now welcomed 46 new students to the district to date during the 2020-2021 school year. More than 15 of these students have intensive needs requiring programs. Most are at the RISE program at the Shamrock and will necessitate adding a classroom. Ms. Ryan is very excited about the new hires in her department. She notes that beginning the search in the spring has provided us with some great candidates. So far, we have a physical therapist, a part-time teacher for the visually impaired, and a bilingual school psychologist slated to start in the fall. For ESY, staffing continues to be a challenge. An information session will be held for parents, and there will be more focus on student IEP goals. For transportation, the driver shortage remains problematic. Ms. Ryan is planning a summer book study that will focus on disability categories, and she will share the book list when it is finalized. There have been additions to the special ed department webpage, including updates to the procedures manual and some news and resources for families. And a resource room teacher has been added to each elementary school, as has language-based instruction. We are working to educate in the least restrictive setting trying to catch needs earlier and provide services for students in their local school. For SSA, Dr. Baldessari explained a change to residency form process. Currently, the process requires a landlord, homeowner, or lessor, and the parent or guardian of the child domiciled to both have notarization. Under the new process, only the landlord will be required to obtain notarization. A new job description for the coordinator for physical and social emotional wellness was provided, formerly the curriculum coordinator for guidance and counseling services. This position integrates social emotional wellness and counseling with health and physical education. This position will provide new opportunities to bridge student social emotional wellness with physical health and wellness. They may formulate individual wellness plans with recommendations for improving diet, increasing exercise, limiting screen time, and other physical factors. Dr. Baldessari noted that there was a proposed merger for the position of coordinator for the ELL and world language departments. More information I expect is going to be coming for that. Related to Fund Code 121, the application process for the FY22 Summer Acceleration Grant has begun. Woburn is eligible for up to $115,000. This grant supports an additional week of summer learning, featuring an early literacy academy for rising kindergartners, rising first graders, and rising second graders, as well as a math academy for rising third graders, rising fourth graders, rising eighth graders, and rising 10th graders. DESE has issued very specific requirements that must be met in order to obtain these funds. We have finally resumed Tcis Trainings. Trainings will be conducted by Mr. Casares and Mr. Nickerson from June 28th through July 1st for up to 30 staff. This is 28 hours of training for therapeutic staff, which includes physical interventions, and a 21-hour certification for all other participants. A meeting was held on June 7th to set up our translation service through Language Line, which, as you have known, is an on-the-spot translation service via voice and or video. The service will revolutionize communication with non-English speaking families. Once established, we can move forward with the equitable translation policy, which has previously been presented. The cost will be 76 cents per minute for audio only and $1.95 per minute for video calls. At Woburn Memorial High School, guidance counselors and school adjustment counselors are checking next year's schedules to ensure all students have what they need as well as what they hope for in their schedules for next year. Guidance counselors are dealing with an increased number of students who are experiencing stress and anxiety around school and their classes. The guidance counselors are also preparing for the end-of-year credit check and to encourage students to take any courses that they have failed again over the summer. We've been seeing an increase in the number of students accessing the BRIGHT program. The program has also been keeping kids in the program longer due to anxiety of full in-person. Erin Merrill of the BRIGHT program and Rosemary Donovan are presenting to the Torch Club at the Boys and Girls Club on mental health issues June 10th at 6 p.m. In the middle schools, school adjustment counselors are working on creating an internal crisis plan for each school. Mr. Sperber and a member of STARS will be meeting with Joe Wells, Dr. Baldessari, and Rosemary Donovan. School adjustment counselors and guidance counselors are seeing an uptick in students accessing services. Guidance counselors are working on outreach for students that are disengaged and hoping to enroll them in the summer enrichment program. Woburn Public Schools has been awarded the 21st Century Learning Grant under Fund Code 647. In year one, we will receive $164,000. The 3-year total will be over $500,000, and a 3-year continuation is possible. This grant will support additional learning time for up to 50 students, including full-day summer programming and 2-hour extended school days. This will be in addition to the over 450 students enrolled in the summer program, as mentioned by Mr. Lipset. We will be partnering with the Boys and Girls Club and the YMCA, and more information will be forthcoming. In the elementary schools, the school adjustment counselors are seeing an uptick in students struggling with social regulation. We have upcoming professional development for adjustment counselors entitled Educational Attainment by Zip Code, Race, and Color. This workshop was created by Dr. Baldessari, and he will run this. It will also be
different than the other one. But
one more?
It's a little different for them, but it's the same concept.
Very good. There will be follow-up by Melissa Plowman and Rosemary Donovan. This will be held at the end of June and will also address proper documentation to support goals-based counseling work. Next we had a presentation on family and community engagement by Adriana Mendez, Sheldon. So as you all may know, family engagement is the systemic inclusion of families in activities and programs that promote children's development, learning, and wellness, including the planning, development, and evaluation of such activities, programs, and systems. So why we engage families? She said that no matter family income or background, students with engaged families are more likely to attend school regularly, have better social skills, earn higher grades and test scores, graduate, and are less likely to enter child welfare. For schools and educators, family engagement can improve job satisfaction, staff understanding of family and community needs, child relationships, school reputation, and community support. And while families are engaged at school, the performance of all the children, not just their own, tends to improve. So even after students received their devices last year, they may not have had internet access, or the instructions were only in English, or the parent may not have been able to read in their native language. This is where having a family and community engagement liaison was a huge help. Ms. Min and Sheldon discussed how to engage families through 4 main themes: building positive relationships, promoting family well-being, promoting pathways for partnerships with families, and supporting child and youth development, learning, health, and well-being. A survey will be going out to families and staff in 8 languages to assess areas related to these themes from the State Coalition framework. Once this data is analyzed, we will be able to compare, collaborate, and build a methodology and systematic approach to building, developing, evaluating, and growing our district's family engagement practice. And finally, the Student Family Needs Tracker now has over 1,100 engagement contacts as of June 6th. I attached the pie chart. And Ms. Cotton for the CPAC said that they will be meeting June 16th at 6:30 p.m. in this room. They will be discussing the literacy curriculum with Maureen Ryan and Courtney Young, and we adjourned at 12:57 p.m.
All right, thank you, Ms. Cormier.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Wells.
Yeah, could I have some clarification about the landlord notarization?
Yep.
Like what?
So we have our enrollment process. There's certain documents that have to be submitted. Proof of residency, and in some cases, the landlord. That's not a homeowner.
Yeah.
The landlord signs a notarized piece of paper that says that this person actually lives here, and the person signs the paper that says I actually live there.
Yeah.
It's really an unnecessary step. If the landlord attests that the person lives there, why do we need the other?
Okay.
Yeah, it's because it's another step in the process, and having to go get notarized, that it can cost a child a day, a school, or more. And so we're just trying to get.
So there's no requirement. This is sort of our own policy.
Well, it's in our policy doesn't spell it out like that, but it's our procedures.
Okay.
That coincide with our policy, and I don't see any reason that we can't make this adjustment. And so we've been working with Adriana, Jen Judkins on this, and we're going to be seeking the superintendent's approval on that change.
Okay. Yeah. So there's no state requirement.
No.
These things. This is just how we've always done it.
No, it's different districts have different.
Okay.
Things. And the thing is a lot of people, more and more people are not owning.
Right.
So it's causing disruptions.
Could they bring presumably, if you own the home, would you bring a bill, or is that like what's
well, they would have a lease or, documents of ownership.
But
we do have people present electric bills and different utility bills for the places where they're domiciled.
I just don't remember when, when you own a house, you don't really. I don't really remember having to bring my home. So
no, it's just we have a different in the enrollment paperwork. There's boxes that have you can bring this or this or this.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, any more questions for SSA?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Lipson.
Can I just get a little clarification? You talked about, Dora, Ms. Cormier mentioned upticks in student anxiety.
Yeah.
Do you have a sense of the scale of the uptick? And, I guess, do you have a sense of the breakdown? Because I can speak anecdotally to what I've seen in my classroom, but I would love to hear it from a district perspective.
Yeah.
Is this return to school? We know that pre-pandemic, the number one cause of student anxiety was school itself. Is that what we're seeing, or are we seeing an anxiety about return to full in-person?
I think you have 3 coinciding factors. One is that you went from half the student body in the room at a time to the full student body in the room at one time. The second is we went through a significant change of weather and season, and we typically see it at the middle school and high school level in May, June. Just things kind of move a little bit more quickly. And then we have the staff that went from having half of a classroom to a full classroom who are making more referrals now. And so everybody's kind of feeling it because you have everybody recondensed, we'll call it, again. So I did not bring any statistics, but I could certainly get some for you. Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Any more questions for SSA, Ms. Cormier?
I have
You
my
a
own
for
question.
yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you answer it, though?
I cannot,
Is it
and
like
that's why I
rhetorical?
need clarification. So as Dr. Baldessari had mentioned, we are looking to, I think from the superintendent, looking to merge the EL coordinator and the world languages. Can you speak to that a little bit, just, I guess, what the rationale is behind that, just so we can understand
Yeah,
our
sure.
purposes?
So previously, well, as you know, we've never had a full-time EL person. And so what I'm seeking to do is to create access to the district for foreign language teachers at the middle and high school and through a coordinator of EL and foreign language. So in other words, pedagogically, they're very different. But good teaching is good teaching. So whomever the person is should be able to, understand what good teaching will look like. But what it will also allow for is some alignment at the middle schools and high school as it relates to both EL and foreign language. With the idea, candidly, that with the limited number of languages that we currently offer, the likelihood of being able to hire a full-time foreign language coordinator would be far down the road. And if we put this in now to sort of beta test it, to see if it's viable in the long run, to see if there's a person or people out there that would be interested in tackling it, I'm thinking that it's a way to, again, address some of the curricular alignment, and provide access to the district level through a coordinator position, rather than if there's a Spanish teacher at the Kennedy currently, they would talk to Mr. Nelson, not necessarily a curricular person, about resources or pedagogy and those kinds of things.
And so is the is the world language coordinator, is that a stipend position currently? Or is that?
Yes, it is. Yeah, so it's.
So instead of having a teacher who is also on the side,
Right.
Doing that, then we would just have this one person that we add
Right.
to the debt. Okay.
So.
Thank you. Perfect.
Yes?
That
Dr.
reminded me,
Wells?
when I was looking at your documents, there was a minutes thing, and it said Dr. Baldessari was made EL lead head.
Yes.
Okay.
Briefly.
Yes.
Well, it said until June 25th.
We had a
Yeah,
medical.
it's true.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so the current
Maternity
person's on a maternity leave.
Oh, okay, all right. I
And
saw that in the minutes, and I
yeah.
said, oh, what's going on?
Yeah,
Okay,
so-
that explains
yeah.
it. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
In his spare time.
Sooner that's over, the better.
Yeah.
All right. We do have to take one action in finance, Madam Chairman.
Oh, sure.
We need to get full committee approval for the finance subcommittee to approve bills and authorize the payment of them, and we'll report back at the first school committee in the fall, otherwise bills don't get paid.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to allow finance to pay bills in the summer.
Yeah.
I have a second. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes. Thank you for that, Dr. Wells. Okay, we're done with subcommittee reports, right? Nothing else? Okay, moving on to correspondence. We do have to vote on the delegate to the MSAC, but first I want to acknowledge that this is most likely Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction's last school committee meeting, Ms. Wendy Sprague. And I-
Remember, it's always on TV.
Yeah.
Right, she's probably going to come back to hang out and watch the meeting, but.
Should be our one person on the clock.
Yeah.
So, on the behalf of the school committee, I want to offer you a small token of our appreciation. It's just a card. And I thought that we could go around and each, if you want, we could wish Miss Sprague well.
I think we can just wish it as a group.
Okay, wish well. Well, I'll just say, on behalf
Get out of here.
John might have a couple of questions.
You want us to
for
do
him.
it on the record? Do you want the minutes to reflect our feelings?
well, I will just say,
Do it.
Yeah.
I have a couple thoughts. So, Ms. Sprague, what I remember about you, and on behalf of the committee, is the Alta Vesta and the work that you did, including the response to intervention, which no one was doing at the time, except you made a leader and you made a point to create this program at the Alta Vesta. It was extremely impressive, if you all remember, and it was groundbreaking. And of course, it was quiet and humble as well. I will always remember you for your down-to-earth approach the ability to just relate to just about any parent, but also the ability to handle complex curricular ideas as well. You are a little bit of Everett and very Woburn, and you've just been
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
She's Chelsea.
A little bit of Chelsea.
You're more landlocked.
And I think that you have both the balanced approach, and you're a tremendous educator. The parents at the Alta Vesta were truly engaged with you, and they were very mad at us when you moved up to central office. And then your work in central office, I think, speaks for itself, especially in the last year. So we wish you well. You are a tremendous educator, and the thousands and thousands of children, quite frankly, particularly girls, that probably saw you as a role model, and they'll carry that with them the rest of their lives. So
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Mike, that'll be your speech too, she'll
Leave
read.
it there.
What's that?
That's why she said Everett,
You did have one
because
other
she was
thing.
reading the Mike one.
Insert.
Mike's, just Mike's in the room.
Chelsea Everett.
I would like to thank all of you for the support that you've provided me since
Do you wanna hand
day
this
one
one?
coming in. It's been a real pleasure being here, and the Woburn community has been very welcoming to me, and we've had our challenges, but we've come together and we've dealt with everything head on, and it's been great. And I'm very appreciative to be able to spend my final professional years here.
Thank you. And you know what? We have a brand new curriculum, and so we will be acting on your behalf for many years.
And you're getting out just in time.
Yeah. That too. Okay.
We had another communication from State Rep Haggerty, asking if we had any comments about changes in the state laws, because
Around COVID.
COVID, in terms of open meetings were the things we wanted to continue and so forth. And I think the big thing is the live streaming. And I
Okay.
think if we could just communicate to him, I don't think we necessarily want to have Zoom meetings anymore, but I think the live streaming allowed people to observe the meetings and so forth. And I think that's one thing maybe we want to continue if we can.
I'm sure the share, Dr. Wells. I mean, I think, the Zoom meetings, especially when we're talking about, for example, subcommittees. I know that, there were a couple of curriculum meetings where we held them on Zoom, and we actually did have members of the public join. I think that there may be accessibility that adds. So, I communicated my thoughts to Rep. Haggerty as well, and I'm sure everyone will do the same individually, but I do think it's interesting to think about the opportunities that Zoom meetings might offer, not for every meeting, but for select few that might increase accessibility.
Thank you. I just will add on that, though, one thought that you have is Zoom is an expense. That's all. And I know some districts don't have that extra dough.
So we use Google Meet, is that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was the only thought I had, is that it is quite expensive, especially if you're going to have an open meeting where you need to have, in case you guys didn't know, you can't have 100 people. You need to have 600 people. Okay. Cold sweats. Cold sweats. Okay. Any more correspondence that I'm forgetting? Thank you, Dr. Wells. Okay. We need to vote on the representative to the MSAC conference, a delegate. And I believe that Mr. Lipsett would like to be the delegate. So does anyone have a motion to appoint?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on appointing Mr. Lipsett as a delegate for the Woburn School Committee at the MASC conference? Any all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion passes. Congratulations, Andrew.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to attending
do good.
on all of your hats.
Okay. I have a feeling that Mr. Lipsett's going to be very engaged. So he's going to be a good one.
One of the things that I've been trying to get him more involved in is state education policies.
Okay.
So thank
Great.
you.
And thank you, Mr. Kessler, for always representing the Women's School Committee at the.
There was no exhibition hall this year. No more
She's in the wrong year.
No way, no stress ball?
No
No
stress
free
ball.
pens?
No way.
Yeah,
I
we
rescind
did.
my nomination.
After COVID, there is no stress. Oh, you need stress?
We actually have had one of our big debates about what we support and that.
Yeah.
Right?
Couple of
Yeah.
resolutions down
It gets pretty. Woo. So.
We got Andrew.
I'll
You're
take
up.
lots of pictures of Andrew.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
What's up, everyone?
Okay.
On the golf course.
Any more correspondence? No. Future agenda items. Well,
Hold on.
it's the last meeting for
So everybody's probably seen, a lot of articles about unfortunate incidents where children have been drowning in the Commonwealth. And I think I'd like the administration potentially to look at some kind of water safety curriculum for our students. I know there are some out there, and even if it's a brief part of phys ed or something like that, just mentioning things like this hopefully can prevent things in the future.
Posters or something. Yeah.
If we can do some things that help, it would just be good. So if the administration could just look at that and maybe report the curriculum at some point.
All right, thank you, Dr. Wells. That's
Okay,
a kind thought.
The chronic absenteeism, I want to talk about that at some point.
Okay.
And then one of my other goals before I depart is the start time at the high school.
The what? Sorry?
Start time at the high school.
Okay.
All three levels.
Well, whatever. It's really focused on changing the start time at the high school.
Yeah.
And, that's a thing that's going to take time. And so, one thing COVID's shown is school systems are flexible, and it also shows that the jobs and so forth are going to be more flexible. And of all the things that are scientifically proven, high school students and start times, it's one of the things that's best proven both biologically, and they've actually started showing in school systems the difference it makes. And so I think it's really important that we start the process. It's not going to happen next year. It probably won't happen the year after, but we've got to do it, just like starting before Labor Day. We're just putting our students at so much of a disadvantage. So I'd really like to start that process. The superintendent was going to work with the other Middlesex League communities. Sounds like a lot of them have already converted. We're not in the vanguard. We're in the rear guard, and it's time to do what's best for our students. So I'd like to work with our communities, and, getting people prepared to that. Whatever things we need to do, let's talk about what needs to be done to make this work.
Okay. Thank you,
If I
Dr.
can
Wells.
just echo Dr. Wells really briefly on that. I think this is something that we really, I know I personally saw it very, very clearly during the pandemic. The thing that high school students really relied on during a lot of this was that on some days they got to sleep later, and that was a genuine benefit to their emotional well-being, to their physical health, and to their ability in school. It backs up exactly the scientific data that Dr. Wells is talking about. So
Okay,
we've seen
so-
it in person.
Thank you very much. So it's not on the agenda right now, so we can't really have a full
No,
discussion on
it's
it.
the future agenda.
Especially when the administration didn't know it was coming, but
Yeah, right.
I see that.
We knew it was
Water
coming.
safety, okay.
Yeah.
Any other future agenda
Any
items?
non-COVID item, keep coming.
So Dr. Baldessari and I met last week to discuss the policy updates.
Yeah.
So we'll be presenting, or
Just gonna, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
just reaffirming some that don't particularly have on MASC the actual adoption date, just so that we have reviewed and are aware.
You are now the Policy Language Commission. Congratulations.
So
Y'all
we,
get to go to
so
MSAC.
I guess over the summer.
Yeah, so I would think that there'll be several policy subcommittee meetings throughout the summer. And then
Okay.
at the beginning of the year, when the committee reconvenes, there'll be a multitude of policies that we can present in one or two, or, chunking them for however many that we get through.
Okay.
We did 7 the other day, and I have a little bit of legwork that I have to do with those. And then, once I have that done, we'll convene, the 4 of us and whoever else joins, and we will continue down that road of, purging. Some need to be purged, some need to be just affirmed, some need to be adjusted for language, minor changes, and there are some that we're going to probably totally revamp.
Okay. So we will be doing a bunch of policies on our first
Yeah,
meeting in
and
September.
imagine at the beginning of the
Okay.
year, that's the way it'll go.
Okay, and of course, under our new sort of thinking about policies, we'll make sure we name them
Yeah.
ahead of time, so.
Yeah.
When is our next meeting? September? Someone know? Ms. Collins? Ms. Collins?
Do we have?
Same, the day
We don't
before
have
the
it.
students go
Do
back.
we have it?
Yeah, we do.
September 7th is Tuesday.
Yeah.
September
Yeah.
8th Wednesday?
If I-
So
if I
let's
could
do
just,
that
um,
now. Let's set that meeting now.
If
Is
I could add
everyone-
one more thing.
Oh, of course.
We have some folks that are watching tonight. The grant that Ms. Cormier said that we received for the 21st century, it's about $500,000. And that was in partnership with the Boys and Girls Club and also with the YMCA. And it's going to include a family academy for 50 low-income students. And it's a lot of people put a lot of time into it, and they're really proud of the award. We were, the accompaniment that we had, the others who got the award were districts like Lynn, Haverhill, Fall River, Brockton. There are a lot of cities in there that usually get the awards, and it's not common that a urban center is able to get in on that 21st century learning experience for your kids. So we're really proud of it, and a lot of folks from the YMCA and Boys and Girls Club, and certainly Adriana came together, and Rosemary, to make that happen. And we're really just want to highlight that for just 1 second, if we could.
Maybe we could have that as an agenda item, and then
It would be great to have
in the fall, we
yeah,
can
the
report on how
partners
it
come
went
in.
and
Yeah.
sort of
Okay.
congratulate the people that were involved.
That's tremendous.
Yeah.
And obviously, whoever wrote the grant was a very good advocate for Woburn, so.
Thank you.
Did you write it?
Well,
Thank you.
not
You're a
alone,
great
but-
advocate.
It's a team effort.
It's a team effort. Team.
That's tremendous.
Team begins with C.
Okay,
Golly.
so we'll do that, I'm sorry, back to the
So I had
September
the
meeting. Let's just
14th,
set
but
that now.
the 14th is the second Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a normal day.
Okay, so we'll have it on September
It'll
14th.
be, give us a couple of days of school start, and we'll be right there.
Yeah, okay. That sounds great.
7 p.m.
All right, do we have executive session for any reason, Dr. Crowley?
So the next one will be.
No.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
That, our meeting is adjourned.
14.